Hey guys, and welcome back for episode 18. For those of you joining for the first time, I am making a Hotline Miami inspired lo-fi samurai game. Lo-fi meaning this kind of art style mixed together with this kind of music, trying to capture that old Samurai Champloo retro anime feeling. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what kind of progress we made this week. Our artist Amanda's got something new this week, a polished version of the design for our main character. Got a front and back view here, along with a look at the character's mask. Look me straight in the eyes and tell me that's not absolutely fucking sick. A side view with his boots and his blade, and most important of all, the top-down view for the in-game perspective. We're currently taking a look at color palette and style options that lean in the direction of classics like Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop, and then we'll be moving on to the first set of animations. As for the game itself, a couple of big things this week. First, I removed the hidden room / map mechanic. There were rooms in the game that you couldn't see inside of until you entered them, and if you wanted to be able to see inside of them from the outside, you had to find this map object first. This was one of those ideas that sounded cool on paper but turned out to be trash, and now that I don't have to worry about the placement of the map object in the levels, I have way more freedom with how I can design the paths through the levels, and I'm super pumped about that. The next big change is I added a timer / score system to the game. The game is by far the most fun and satisfying to play when you play very aggressively and you start to memorize the level and the patterns and you're just slicing from one guy to the next, so I wanted to add something to encourage that. It starts with 5 seconds on the clock. As soon as you make your first kill, it starts counting down. If it reaches 0, you lose and have to restart, and you gain time / score by killing enemies and using items, so it not only puts pressure on you because you don't want to lose, but also gives you an incentive for playing aggressively and making use of everything at your disposal, and I'm going to be adding a combo system to give you even more incentive. I also rebalanced the game a bit this week to make it more intense. I lowered the reaction time and increased the speed of enemies. I added an aim assist for using items such as projectiles because it was really hard to aim them manually and I wanted it to contribute to the high adrenaline nature of the game rather than taking away from it. Finally, I continued expanding on the game's second level. I added a flashbang item that you can throw and that applies a short stun in an area of effect, very helpful for giving you a break from these super fast dashing enemies, and speaking of which, I continued work on balancing these new dashing enemies as well. It can be a little bit hard to tell from the videos right now because a lot of it is still my shitty programmer art, but I gotta tell you guys, this game is already fucking awesome. It is incredibly satisfying once you start to memorize the levels and you're just going through it, like you get into that flow. I literally sit there and play this shit like 100 times a day. Even when I complete a level, I'll like reset it and just keep doing it over and over again because it's extremely addictive. And the fact that it feels like that without yet having even added any kind of effects, any kind of feedback, there's no camera shake, there's no nothing. The fact that it's already awesome even with those feelings means I am super pumped about what it's going to look like when everything actually comes together. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm actually a world-class beatboxer. Check it out. So what do you guys think? Should I just like go ahead and do the entire soundtrack using only my mouth? Or should I retain my buddy Alex and have him do the soundtrack professionally? Now, for those of you who watched last week's episode, where I posted the most boring and dry video I have ever created, you will recall that I gave you some genius philosophical insight. Let me quickly summarize it for you. I revealed that there is a paradox contained within the concept of free will, where even if the universe is predetermined according to scientific laws, then if you believe in free will, you will act as if you have free will because of scientific laws that govern your mind anyway. Now I'm going to give you a moment to go grab the broom out of your closet so that you can sweep up the shattered pieces of your skull that are laying on the floor around you because of how hard I just blew your mind. Now for this philosophical insight to work, you have to really believe that free will exists, so the question remains, how do you convince yourself you have free will? I don't know. But I can at least give you a few points. Quantum mechanics is real, so not all scientific laws are necessarily deterministic. Consciousness is not a material or a scientific subject, and it's kind of miraculous. So if that happened, then it's possible that maybe there's something else going on there too. And also, I do have one other trippy thought. Imagine if you make a machine that's supposed to predict the future. You feed it all of the current state of matter everywhere in the universe, and then it spits out this information being like, okay, here's what's going to happen next. In order for it to predict what's going to happen in the future, it has to predict itself. Okay, tell me what's going to happen in the next second. The machine has to predict what it's going to predict in a second from now. Now that doesn't prove that free will exists, but it does at least mean that it's not possible to know the future from within the universe. Alright, well hopefully now you believe in free will and you're going to take control of your life and follow your dreams and do what you want to do. I believe in you. Well, that's it for this week. As usual, guys, thank you so much for watching. You can like and subscribe to get regular updates every week on the progress of this samurai game. And you can follow me anywhere on social media as well, where I also post on an almost daily basis about the progress being made on the game. If you'd like to support me, you can also check out my first game. The link is in the description below. And I cannot wait to see you guys here again next week for a special Christmas episode.